Hello, my name is Kelly Bluen. Welcome to my mini mandala series. In these videos, I show you how to make a little mandala without using any fancy grid paper and no fancy tools. So I usually make these pretty small. This is a 5" by 5" sketchbook. And I start with a coin. This happens to be a penny, but any coin will do. I'm using a Micron PN plastic nib pen. I have a graphite pencil to do some drawing and shading and a blending tool called a tortillon. All you need is a piece of paper, a pen, and a coin. You do not need anything fancy to make these. So in today's video, after we draw our circle, we're going to fill it in with a shape that most people are familiar with, and that is a yin-yang shape. And here's just one definition. It says, this symbol of harmony reminds us that life is a balancing act and most fulfilling when we learn to embrace its dualities. I love that definition. We've all seen this. It means lightness and darkness. It means both evil and good. It tends to be grounded in nature and was started as a Chinese symbol many, many, many years ago. So I love yin and yang, and so in today's mandala, we'll be playing with kind of that dark versus light. I'm excited about this one. Okay, so I'm going to start by placing my penny on my paper, and I'm going to trace it with my pen. Just go all the way around. And we've got the center of our mandala started. Okay, now I like to take my pencil and I draw a grid. So I like to start by going across the center this way. I just put in a very light pencil line, and then I go up and down or vertical, and I divide it that way. I'm also going to divide it crisscross or in an X. So basically, I just want these two to be about the same size. So just trying to make some sort of even sections. Good enough. I'll zoom in a little bit for you. Okay, there we go. I'm going to pick up my pencil again, and I'm going to start drawing the yin and the yang. So we need this S shape, but it's a backwards S. So it's going to curve over here, cross the middle, and curve this way. We'll do it in pencil so you can play around with it and erase it if you need to. But basically, I'm going to start at that center point, and I'm going to curve this way. And then from the center, I'm going to curve the opposite way and back down. And what you want is this smooth shape. And a smooth shape this way. Okay, so again, you can make a curve to the center and then a curve the opposite way. And then there's circles on each of those, and we put those right on the center line. So I'm going to put one here and one here. All right, now we get to do some coloring in. So I'm using a Micron PN plastic nib. It's a little bit thicker of a pen. Feel free to use a thicker pen if you need to, maybe an 08 or even just a marker to fill it in. But I'm going to trace that center line and both of those circles. And I'm going to color the top one in black. It doesn't matter which one you color in, but I'm going to go ahead and do the top one. And just taking a deep breath as I'm doing this, enjoying the process of coloring it in. I love this as a symbol in our mandala. If we like this one, maybe we'll do more. Getting that nice and dark. And then we fill in the bottom circle. And when I was reading about yin and yang, it was talking about, you know, the good versus evil, the light versus dark, but then also that there's some good in the bad and some bad in the good. So just that constant reminder of that balance and embracing all of it. Okay, we have our yin yang done. I love it. And just so you know, this is yin, which is more the feminine side, and this is yang, which is more the masculine side. I did not know that. Okay, now we're going to put some little bumps around the whole thing. So I'm going to fit about 3 in each of these sections, but I'm not going to worry if I only fit 2 or if I happen to fit 4. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to put just little bumps. So all of these mandalas are just a suggestion, just a guide. Feel free, now that you've made, hopefully you've followed me for a while and you've made about 20 of these, do what you like. If you don't like the bumps, then just put another aura, another circle around it. Do whatever makes you happy. Okay, now I'm going to take my pen. I'm going to use my pen as a bit of a measuring tool. So I'm going to put this right on the edge, at the top edge, and I'm just going to draw a line up here. And I'm going to make a circle all the way around, but I want it to be about the width of my pen so I can keep doing this. You can also use a piece of paper and make some little dash lines. Those are just kind of my guide as to where I want my circle to land. Doing this very, very lightly. So when I mentioned using paper, you can take a little piece of scrap paper and put a dash, put it on your line, and you can go all the way around and use that like a little ruler. Okay, pick up my pen again, and now in each of these sections, I'm going to make a larger bump. So I'm just going to go like this. And if you feel like your section is too large compared to the next one, then change it a little with your pencil. And all of these were meant to be just enjoying the process, not worrying about things being even. Okay, I already love it. It's a great mandala just like that. Okay, now my next step, I'm going to put an outline around this whole thing before I forget. So I'm just going to go around and around never touching down, just dipping into those little crevices. I really love this one. Okay, now we're going to have a little bit of fun with that black versus white. And so inside each of these bumps, I'm going to make 2 little bumps. So I'm going to make one that size and then one in the center. One close to the edge, one in the center. Make sure the center one is not too tiny because we're going to draw a little bit in it. One, 2. 1, 2. Enjoy that repetition. Every time we add a line, I just love it more. Okay, now I'm going to make a line in each of those petals, but I'm not going to start at that outside. I'm going to start on that line at the edge of the petal, not the outside line. It probably would have been easier for me to do that first, but I wasn't thinking about that. So go just into that petal and go straight down, dividing that whole petal in half on each of those. Again, stopping before you get to that outside edge. Okay, now we're going to play a little bit with the black and white. So I'm going to go to the left side of that tiny little bump and I'm going to fill that in. And if you need to make it a little bit wider with your pen, go ahead. Just the left-hand side of the smallest bump. Then I go to the right-hand side of the next section and I fill that in. And then I go back to the left and fill that in. When I go to the next one, I start on the left of the littlest bump. Then I go to the right. And then to the left. Look how cool that is. It's so dramatic with the dark and light. So always going on that left-hand side first. And then the right. I'm going to turn my book as I go. Just so I keep remembering that left side first. I like the part of that description where it said, embrace the dualities. We've all had situations in life that are terrible and sad or difficult, and then we find a little bit of good that can come out of them. Same with the good. Even the best things in life sometimes have a little bit of a dark side or something that doesn't go as we planned. That's life. Left, then right, then left. So another description I saw of yin and yang was harmony and balance. I think that's one of the hardest things to do in life, is to balance. Balance our schedules, balance our relationships. I like how this is turning out. On my last one. Okay, that looks pretty cool. Zoom in a little bit more on that for you. Okay, hopefully you've caught up. If not, pause the video for a minute and catch up after that. Okay, now we're going to add a cool little effect that we use in Zentangle quite often, and I just kind of call it a ribbon effect or a reflection. But we did the aura, but now we're going to actually touch down in each crevice and give this little cap on each one. So we bump all the way down and give this little cap. Go nice and slow so that they're fairly even. We bump up and we come down. Okay, so to get this cool effect, we pick the center of one of those little ribbons, and I'm going to put a zigzag on both sides of the center. So I can kind of line it up with this line that we made down the middle here. And I put just these little zigzaggy lines. And then I color in both sides, but not the middle. We're doing so much coloring on this one today. So I color in that side, and I color in this side. And it looks like there's a reflection. I can even make that a little bit narrower if I want. Isn't that kind of a cool effect? So I pick the center, and then I put these little ziggy lines on both sides and fill it in, leaving that middle open. We're playing with that black and white. I always put those little lines in first so that I don't accidentally color in the whole thing. If you do color in the whole thing, then just go ahead and do that on all of them. No one's going to know you missed a step. Zigzaggy lines. If you step back and look at yours, doesn't it look amazing? And again, some are going to be a little bit wider than other ones, and it doesn't matter. This is really meant to be a practice in being calm and focused. It's not meant to be perfect. It's not meant to be something you are necessarily going to frame and put on your wall. It's just for fun. It looks amazing and we're not even done. All right, as you're catching up, another definition that I saw, not a definition, more an explanation, said there can be no positive without negative, no open without closed, and no light without shadow. So basically, we need both of these things in our lives to create that balance. Okay. We're so close to being done. All right, I'm going to add one more of these little bumps where I touch all the way down and go up. If you don't want to add more, you don't have to, but I'd like to keep on with our black and white theme here. And then in between those, I'm going to put these little, kind of like a seed shape. On each of these. And then I'm going to color those in. I've never done so much coloring on one mandala. But I'm loving it. You can adjust them as you're coloring them in if you want to make them longer or wider. Okay, now I'm going to add, tucking right into that edge, I'm going to add another one on each one. We don't want the dark without the light. And then I'm going to go back to these little white strips we have here, and I'm going to put a black circle and then two smaller ones, one on each side. So a black circle in the middle and a little bit smaller ones on each side. All right, to finish this off, I promise we're almost done now. I'm going to do one last thin little aura. I'm going to color it in. And I'm going to put a couple little dots all the way around it. So one last little aura. Color it in. A dot on top. And maybe two on each side. I feel like I could go on and just keep adding to this. It's so fun to play with. Look at how finished that looks, though, compared to this side. The next one I do is going to have to be very light and airy. Every time we add a detail to a mandala, it just makes it more interesting, more intricate. There are so many variations, so many things you could add to this one. We did it. That looks amazing. So typically I would add shading to give this some depth, but for this one, I'm just gonna leave it black and white like this. We have enough ink on here that I feel like if I tried to add some shading, it might sort of smudge some of the dark areas. And I really just love it as is. So I'm going to erase some of my grid lines. I've got this kneaded eraser that looks like gum. Erase those lines in the middle. We initial our work. And then I always date my work, and I like to write something that's going on in my life right now. It can be something personal. It can be something with somebody I know or care about. It can be something related to work. Maybe something wonderful that's happened recently. Maybe something not so wonderful. But I like to write the date and just a little journal entry about something going on. So that is it. That is our yin and yang mandala. I hope you loved it. Please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Your likes and subscriptions help me get these videos out to more people. And I appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope you find balance. Bye-bye.